Welcome back, everyone. This is your Sharp Squares podcast with Greg Roth and the ambassador, David Eby. I am Eric Glazer, and this is your Sharp Squares episode for week. This is the Sharp Squares episode for week 12, 2024-25. Last week, our Sharps in aggregate were 50%. Not great, but this year, not terrible. Mental games, unfortunately, just 3-3. Pick 5. 2-3, 3-2-1, 1-2 for the season. Roughly the same dismal records that we've been reporting back to you. I'm not going to bore us with all that, but I do have some information for you guys. I was just playing around looking at some of the data that our guy Sammy the Bull Gerber puts together for us. And I'm going to share with you the teams that our Sharps have picked the most through week 11. Thought it was interesting. So first of all, and you're going to hear, spoiler alert, some stuff about the Giants in a little bit when we bring on Greg. The Giants, when they're picked this season by our Sharps, they've been picked 25 times. And that means, folks, that maybe like 4 people pick them in 1 week. That counts as 4 times. So I'm just aggregating all the picks here. Our Sharps are 1-24. These are all ATS numbers. You should know that. 1-24 when the Giants get picked. But they are by no means the most picked team. Starting at number 7 and going up in order, the Jaguars have been picked 27 times by the Sharps. We're okay there, 15-12, not great, not terrible. The Saints have been picked 28 times, 10-18, not good. The Colts have been picked 28 times, a little bit better, 12-16. The Browns have been picked 28 times, 8-20. The Broncos, however, have been picked 29 times when the Sharps take them just over 500, 15-14. And here's the good news, folks. The Lions have been picked 30 times by the Sharps, and when they do that, they are 23-7. That doesn't always mean they bubble up to a medal game, depending on who's descending, who's taking them. But when the Sharps take the Lions, and you probably know their ATS record is one of the, I think, is the best in NFL, 23-7. But the team picked the most by our Sharps, and everyone probably is guessing it right now as I'm talking, has been the Tennessee Titans. They have been picked 33 times. That is 10% more than our second most picked team. And when the Titans are picked by our Sharps, they are 0-33.
Want one.
So maybe that is the problem. Well, here we go. Did we pick the Titans, or did our Sharps pick the Titans this week? You're going to find all that out and much more during a segment we like called Gold, Silver, Bronze. And to provide you all this precious information, wearing white today if you're watching on YouTube, everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Eric, thank you so much. Hello, Ambassador. Happy Thanksgiving to both of you and your families. Of course, happy Thanksgiving to our incredible production team. And happy Thanksgiving to our very sophisticated, patient listening audience. As a gift for Thanksgiving, I promise that even if the algorithm picks the aforementioned Tennessee Titans, I will refuse to report on it on the show. I refuse, at least for a couple of weeks. We're journalists here. We're just reporting the news. So at some point, I'm going to have to go back to that foundation. But for the next couple of weeks, as a Thanksgiving gift to all of you, if we have the Titans, I will not report it. I am happy to report they were not a pick this week.
Hey, I just want a couple of things. One, that was a lot of things. Happy Thanksgivings, but I also want to do a happy belated birthday because last week was your birthday. And so maybe your birthday will create a brand new karma for the show and the impact of the show, the outcomes of the show. So
thank you for that. There are 6 medal games tonight. 6 medal games. 3 of them are silver. None are gold. 3 of them are silver. 3 of them are bronze. The top rated game. The picks, the Baltimore Ravens. They're -2.5. traveling to LA to take on the Chargers. That's the Monday night game. Of course, that's the Harbaugh Bowl. Gil Alexander, Ralph Michaels, Mike Lombardi, and Aaron Schatz all picked Baltimore. There were a few Chargers picks from RJ Bell, Marco D'Angelo, and Ross Tucker. The second silver game. One of our favorite teams this year. They did cover for us last week as a bronze pick. This week, they're a silver pick. It's the Indianapolis Colts. They are a home dog, plus 7.5, welcoming the number one rated ATS team in the league, the Detroit Lions. Stuckey, Kelly Stewart, Will Capper, and the Favorites podcast all picked the Colts. None of the Sharps wanted to take Detroit this week. The third silver game, the pick. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. They're minus 2.5. They're in LA to take on the Rams on Sunday night. Scott Seidenberg, J.R. Ranieri, Fabian Summer, and Mike Lombardi all picked the Eagles. Marco D'Angelo is on the Rams. 3 bronze games. The top-rated bronze game. The pick's the Minnesota Vikings. They're minus 3.5 in Chicago, taking on the Bears. Steve Fezzik, Scott Seidenberg, Marco D'Angelo, Rob Pizzola, Tommy the Hitman, Fabian Summer all picked the Vikings. Ross Tucker likes the Bears. The second bronze game, the Daniel Jones-less New York Giants is the pick. They're plus 5.5, another home dog, welcoming Tampa Bay to MetLife Stadium. Steve Fezzik, Ross Tucker, and Stuckey all picked the Giants. Nobody picked the Buccaneers. The last bronze game, one of my favorite teams, and I know one of yours, the pick. It's the Carolina Panthers, another home dog. They're plus 10.5 at home. Why? Because they're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Steve Fezzik, Chris Raybon, and the Favorites podcast all picked Carolina. Jay Croucher took the Chiefs. So, in recap, the Ravens, Colts, and Eagles are silver. The Vikings, Giants, and Panthers are bronze. So, our picks, we have 6 medal games. We're going to take our top 5 medal games in our pick 5. Ravens minus 2.5, Colts plus 7.5, Vikings minus 3.5, Eagles minus 2.5, Giants plus 5.5. In 3-2-1, very simple. The Ravens, that line is minus 3 instead of minus 2.5. So they drop off. Everything else moves up. That's the Colts 3, Eagles 2, Vikings 1.
We've got handicapping highlights coming up for 3 of the games and some trends. But if you just want to get out of here, you are now all dismissed. Here are some trends that we aggregated. Take it away, Ambassador.
Thank you, Eric. From the Action Network, double-digit favorites are a perfect 5-0 straight up and against the spread this year. It's the first time since 1950 that double-digit favorites have been undefeated ATS through 11 weeks. This season, by the way, is tied for the fewest double-digit favorite games through 11 weeks since 1950. Of course, you'll be looking at the Chiefs this weekend against the Panthers. Chiefs are a double-digit favorite, as are the Commanders at home against the Cowboys. The Titans, who we all know and love so well, are 1-9 against the spread this season. That is the worst ATS record in the NFL. And that's the worst mark for any team through 11 weeks since the 2007 Ravens, and just the second 1-9 ATS start through 11 weeks in the last 30 years. From Bet Labs, you can find them at bet_labs at Twitter X. Patrick Mahomes is 4-0 straight up as a double-digit road favorite, but 0-3-1 against the spread. Of course, again, Chiefs are at the Panthers. And speaking of the Lions, how great they are against the spread in the Jared Goff era. The Lions are 21-9 against the spread as favorites. That's 70%, including 8-3 against the spread as road favorites per Bet Labs. And of course, the Lions are at the Colts this weekend.
First game, Ravens minus 2.5 at the Chargers. 2 of the best rushing attacks in the league set to face off here. Sharps are looking for the Ravens to bounce back in a tough divisional loss last week as they traveled to Los Angeles. The Chargers have yet to face a team of Baltimore's caliber. Gil Alexander from Beating the Book. The Chargers aren't the team that people are making them out to be. They played a weak schedule and almost fell apart against Cincinnati. Baltimore is just better, and they're coming off a loss to Pittsburgh. They're going to be good to go. Lamar off a loss is usually great. Timestamps for this. Beating the Book. Did I give Mike Lombardi from the GM Shuffle credit for that last handicap? I don't think I did. Lamar off a loss is usually great. Timestamps for this. Beating the Book, 44 minutes, 10 seconds, and they covered again at 52 minutes and 40 seconds. The GM Shuffle covers this at 51 minutes, 17 seconds. Bet On It covers it two different places, folks, 6 minutes and 45 seconds, and you could fast forward to 31 minutes and 45 seconds. If you want to get to some dissent from this game and get this other side of the story, you could listen to the Dream Preview at 24 minutes and 21 seconds and Even Money at 28 minutes, 18 seconds.
Second game, silver. Lions at Colts. The Colts are plus 7.5. The theme, laying 7.5 on the road is too much even for the Lions. The handicapping synopsis, the combination of AR-15 and a zone D should lead to a Colts cover. AR-15, of course, Anthony Richardson. Highlights, Stuckey from the Action Network points out that Jared Goff is great against man coverage, but average against zone coverage. And Indianapolis plays a lot of zone. AR-15 is somehow 6-2 against the spread. Wow, I didn't know that. And he looked great last week after his benching. He did indeed. Kelly Stewart bet on a podcast says teams off a 30-point plus win and now a favorite. That's the Lions, of course, are 17-34-1. This is a fade of Detroit. From the Whale Capper Deep Dive podcast, his biggest bet of the week is on the Colts. He believes Detroit's defense is vulnerable on the road, especially without key defensive players like Alex Anzalone. Indianapolis has a balanced offense and could exploit Detroit's defensive weaknesses. Timestamps, Action Network, 15 minutes even. Bet On It, 27 minutes, 25 seconds. And the Deep Dive podcast with the Whale Capper, that timestamp not available.
All right, let's take a look at Tampa Bay at the New York Giants. The pick is the Giants, plus 5.5 points. The theme, no matter who is the quarterback for the Giants, 5.5 points is just too much. I guess you might call that 5.5 points. Highlights, even with a huge downgrade at quarterback, Steve Fezzik at the Dream Preview makes this game 4.5 points, and he's catching 6, so he gets an extra half point from what we have. So he likes the Giants. He says when you fire the coach, you get that fired coach bump. Well, they basically fired their quarterback, Giants did, so he thinks the entire team will play a little harder for Danny DeVito or Tommy DeVito or Tommy Cutlets, whatever you want to call him. Ross Tucker, Even Money. New quarterback should give the team an initial spark, and the Giants can make this a close game. Stuckey from the Action Network said the Tommy DeVito hype train is pulling into the station, and he's getting on. He says DeVito is horrible, but how big of a drop-off is he from Daniel Jones? Tampa Bay has not played many great games, and they are missing offensive pieces against a good Giants defense. Timestamps, Dream Preview 35-36, Action Network 49-32, and Even Money 17-19.
All right. I don't know if that was our best work. I thought, Greg, you were on. You helped carry us today. Great job by the production team, who always really are the ones that carry us. Just a reminder to everyone, none of us are truly sharp. But this is your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there and happy Thanksgiving.